Alexa Hayes sat in the back row of the Interstellar Academy's main lecture hall, her gaze fixed on the holographic display at the front, which shimmered with complex equations and alien script. Around her, cadets from various species whispered in a myriad of alien tongues, their voices a soft murmur in the large, amphitheater-style classroom. At the center of the room, Commander Dravok, a towering figure from the Vortel Dominion, paced before the class. His deep voice resonated throughout the hall as he discussed intergalactic diplomacy. "Understanding is the cornerstone of peace in the galaxy," he boomed, his eyes briefly meeting Alexa's before she looked away, embarrassed. Beside Alexa, a fellow human cadet, Tom Jensen, nudged her gently. "You got this, Lexi. Just because you're quiet doesn't mean you're not smart," he whispered encouragingly. Alexa smiled weakly. "Easy for you to say. You aced the last simulation," Tom chuckled. "Only because I hacked the system a bit. I'll show you how later." Dravok's voice cut through their whispered exchange. "Cadet Hayes, perhaps you would like to enlighten us on the Treaty of Andraxis and its implications." Alexa froze. She knew the treaty's basics, but the intricate details eluded her. As she stood, her legs felt shaky, her mind racing. From the row in front, a draconian cadet, Axar, turned around. His reptilian eyes gleamed with amusement. "Struggling, human? Maybe this is too complex for your species." Alexa's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. She opened her mouth to respond, but Tom interjected, standing up. "Maybe Axar would like to remind us all about the draconian debacle at Zenthara. I hear understanding was in short supply that day." Laughter erupted around the room, and Dravok raised his hand for silence. "Enough. Cadet Hayes, your answer?" Taking a deep breath, Alexa began. "The Treaty of Andraxis established a neutral zone between—" "Incorrect," Dravok interrupted. "That's the Zentar Accord. Sit down, Cadet Hayes." As she sat, defeated, Tom leaned over. "Don't let him get to you. You'll get the hang of it." The lecture continued, but Alexa's thoughts were elsewhere. She felt out of place among these future leaders and warriors. Yet a part of her yearned to prove them all wrong, to show that she was more than the quiet girl in the back row. Later, as the cadets filed out of the classroom, Zil, an Arothan known for his keen insights, approached Alexa. "Don't take Dravok's harshness to heart," he advised in his smooth, calm voice. "He challenges us all. It's his way of forging strength." "Thanks, Zil," Alexa said, managing a small smile. "I just wish I could show him, and everyone, that I deserve to be here." "You will," Tom added, slapping her on the back. "We'll work on it together. Let's start with that hacking trick I mentioned. It's not just about breaking rules. It's about understanding them well enough to bend them." With a renewed spark of determination, Alexa nodded. Perhaps with the help of friends like Tom and Zil, she could turn the tide. After all, understanding the rules to bend them was a craft in itself, one that could very well define her path forward in this diverse and competitive galaxy. As the days turned into weeks, the Galactic Academy became a pressure cooker of heightened expectations and brewing conflicts. News of potential hostilities between the United Galactic Federation, UGF, and the Zoraxian Empire reached the ears of the cadets, casting a shadow over their rigorous training sessions. In the Academy's combat simulation room, Alexa and Tom were paired for a mock battle exercise. The room buzzed with the energy of cadets maneuvering through digitalized alien landscapes, dodging virtual enemy fire. Tom adjusted his virtual reality headset, grinning at Alexa. "Ready to show them what you've got?" Alexa nodded, her hands steady on her blaster controls. "Let's make it count." As the simulation began, holographic Zoraxians appeared, their blasters aimed with lethal precision. Alexa and Tom worked in unison, ducking behind holographic rocks and returning fire. Alexa's previous uncertainties faded as she found her rhythm, her shots becoming more confident. Beside them, Axar and another draconian cadet executed a flawless offensive, their movements synchronized and deadly. Watching them, Alexa felt a surge of competitiveness. She wasn't just here to participate, she wanted to excel. "Left flank, Alexa!" Tom called out, snapping her back to reality. Twisting to her left, Alexa fired, taking down a virtual assailant with a perfect shot. Cheers erupted around them. For the first time, she felt a genuine sense of accomplishment in her skills. After the exercise, while the cadets cooled down, Zil approached Alexa and Tom, his expression more serious than usual. "You two are improving," he observed, "but be cautious. The rumors of war aren't just rumors anymore. The Zoraxians are mobilizing. Tom frowned. Do you think it'll affect us here? It might, Zil replied. The academy isn't just a school, it's a strategic asset. Everyone here is a potential target or a potential soldier. The weight of his words hung heavily in the air. Alexa felt a chill despite the sweat cooling on her brow. The idea of being more than just a student, of being part of an actual conflict, was both terrifying and galvanizing. That evening, as the cadets gathered in the mess hall, the atmosphere was tense. News screens along the walls displayed updates from various Federation outposts, showing troop movements and diplomatic meetings. Commander Dravok entered the hall, his presence commanding immediate silence. Cadets, he began, his voice stern, our galaxy stands on the brink of a crisis. The skills you learn here may soon be tested in ways you cannot imagine. Alexa exchanged a worried glance with Tom. The training simulations suddenly felt like more than just exercises. They were preparations for something far greater and more dangerous. I want you all to double your efforts, Dravok continued. The future may require not just your skills, but your courage and your judgment. As the meeting dispersed, Tom leaned over to Alexa. Whatever happens, we're in this together, right? Right, Alexa affirmed, her resolve hardening. The challenges ahead were daunting, but she knew she wouldn't face them alone. With her friends by her side, Alexa felt ready to face whatever the galaxy threw at her. She was no longer just a misfit in class. She was a cadet with a cause, determined to prove her worth not just to her peers, but to the entire galaxy. During an ordinary strategy session in the Academy's main hall, alarms suddenly blared throughout the complex, slicing through the hum of focused discussion. The cadets froze, then sprang into action as the threat level was declared. A direct attack by Zoraxian forces on the Academy. Positions now! Commander Dravok barked, his voice carrying across the chaos. Cadets scrambled to defensive posts, each move practiced but now charged with urgent reality. Tom grabbed Alexa's arm, pulling her towards the tactical operations room. This is it, Alexa. Time to put all that training to use. Alexa nodded, adrenaline sharpening her focus. As they reached their posts, they saw through the panoramic windows a squadron of Zoraxian ships descending towards the Academy. Their sleek, dark hulls contrasted starkly against the bright nebulae in the background. In the operations room, Zil joined them, his face set in a grim line. They're aiming to disable our communications first, he observed, analyzing the incoming fleet's formation. We need to protect the comms tower at all costs. Alexa took her position at the command console, her fingers flying over the holographic interface. I can reroute the auxiliary power to boost our shield generators. It might just give us the edge we need. Do it, Tom said, taking charge of the defensive turret controls. As Alexa implemented the power reroutes, a Zoraxian fighter broke through the perimeter, its weapons charging up for a direct strike. Tom's hands were steady as he aligned the crosshairs, his shot blasting the enemy ship into a fiery explosion. The battle raged on, with both sides suffering losses. Through it all, Alexa's command of the systems was impeccable. She anticipated enemy moves, orchestrated counterattacks, and managed internal defenses, all while maintaining communication with squad leaders. Suddenly, an internal breach was reported. A Zoraxian commando unit had infiltrated the Academy. Commander Dravok's voice came through the intercom, stern and commanding. Cadet Hayes, Jensen, and Zil, repel the invaders in Sector 7. Go! The trio rushed to the specified sector, finding the Zoraxian commandos attempting to plant explosive devices. Without hesitation, they engaged the enemy. Alexa, though not as physically formidable as some of her alien classmates, fought with a fierce determination that surprised her adversaries. Her training kicked in, each move precise and effective. In the midst of the melee, a Zoraxian soldier cornered her, his weapon aimed directly at her chest. Just as he fired, Tom tackled him, the shot going wide. Thanks, Alexa gasped, helping Tom to his feet. Don't mention it, he replied with a grin. What are friends for? After a grueling hour, the Zoraxian forces were repelled. The Academy suffered damage, but the strategic assets remained secure. As they regrouped, Commander Dravok approached Alexa, his expression unreadable. Cadet Hayes, your actions today have shown great courage and skill, he said, nodding slightly in respect. You have defended this academy with honor. The recognition from Dravok filled Alexa with a warm sense of accomplishment, but more than that, it cemented her resolve. She had proven her worth not only as a cadet, but as a defender of the academy. The test of loyalty wasn't just about allegiance to the Federation. but about standing firm with her comrades in the face of overwhelming odds. Alexa knew now more than ever that her path was here, among the stars, defending the fragile piece of the galaxy. In the aftermath of the Zoraxian attack, the Academy was abuzz of activity. Damaged sections were under rapid repair, and security protocols were being overhauled. Amidst the hustle, Alexa, Tom, and Zill gathered in the strategy room for a debriefing session. The walls were lined with screens showing various parts of the Academy and surrounding space. Commander Dravok paced in front of them, his expression stern. "The attack was a warning," he announced. "Intelligence suggests it was a probe of our defenses. A larger force is assembling at the Zoraxian border." Tom leaned forward, concern etching his features. "How soon do we expect them?" Dravok's eyes fixed on a distant point, as if visualizing the enemy's movements. "We have weeks, perhaps less. This academy will be their primary target given our strategic location and the training of elite cadets." Alexa absorbed this, her mind racing through scenarios. "What are our options, sir?" "We fortify," Dravok replied succinctly, "and we prepare for a prolonged siege. Every cadet, including you, Hayes, will undergo advanced combat and strategic command training starting immediately. We need to be ready." Zill, usually calm, showed a flicker of anxiety. "And if they breach our defenses again?" Dravok turned, his gaze piercing. "Then we fight to the last. Make no mistake, this is not just about defending the Academy. It's about securing our future as a galactic presence." The weight of his words settled over the room. Alexa felt a mix of fear and determination stir within her. She was no longer just a struggling cadet. She was a vital part of the galaxy's defense. Training intensified over the following days. Alexa and her fellow cadets were pushed to their limits physically and mentally. Simulated battles became more complex and dangerous, reflecting the grim realities they might soon face. Alexa, Tom, and Zill, now a steadfast team, excelled, their unique skills complementing each other. One evening, as they reviewed battle strategies, an alert sounded. They rushed to the main control room, where an officer pointed to a blinking light on the star map. "A Zoraxian scout ship has been detected in a nearby sector." Without hesitation, Dravok ordered a squadron to intercept. Alexa watched the live feed, her heart in her throat as the cadets aboard the interceptors pursued the scout. The engagement was brief. The scout was captured, its crew detained for interrogation. "We might get some answers now," Tom muttered as they returned to their quarters. But the answers provided little comfort. The interrogation revealed that a massive Zoraxian armada was indeed assembling, their target confirmed as the Academy. The news spread like wildfire, causing a ripple of tension and fear among the cadets. Late that night, Alexa sat staring out at the stars from the observation deck. Zill joined her, his voice soft. "You're thinking about Earth, aren't you?" Alexa nodded. "I never thought I'd be in the middle of an interstellar war. I'm scared, Zill." "It's okay to be scared," Zill replied, his gaze also on the stars. "It means you understand the stakes. But remember, Alexa, you've already proven you're more than capable." Reassured, Alexa took a deep breath. "Thanks, Zill. Whatever comes, I'm ready to face it. We all are." The storm was approaching, and as the galaxy braced for conflict, Alexa found a new strength in the unity and determination of her fellow cadets. Together, they would stand against the coming darkness, ready to defend their academy, their beliefs, and their very lives. The war was no longer a distant possibility. It was an imminent reality, and they were at the heart of it. With the impending threat of the Zoraxian armada growing ever closer, the Academy's command decided on a bold course of action. Under the veil of the upcoming confrontation, they would send a small team to infiltrate the Zoraxian stronghold. The mission, to gather critical intelligence that could turn the tide of the anticipated war. Alexa, Tom, and Zill were selected for the mission due to their complementary skills and proven teamwork under pressure. The plan was risky, and everyone involved understood the gravity of the situation. In the early hours before dawn, the trio geared up in stealth suits, their features obscured and equipment optimized for silence and low visibility. Commander Dravok briefed them one last time in the launch bay. "You are not to engage unless absolutely necessary," Dravok instructed sternly, his eyes locking onto each of theirs in turn. "Get in, download the war plans from their mainframe, and get out. We need that data to prepare our defenses." Tom, ever the optimist, cracked a half smile. "Just another day at the academy, right?" Alexa didn't share his levity. The weight of the mission pressed down on her, a stark contrast to the simulated exercises they were accustomed to. The stealth shuttle departed under the cover of darkness, slipping past the Academy's defensive perimeter and making its way toward Zoraxian space. As planets and stars blurred past, the reality of their mission sank in. They were alone, behind enemy lines with no immediate backup. The shuttle landed on a remote section of the Zoraxian outpost. The area was quiet, the only sounds the distant hum of the base's reactors and the occasional patrol vehicle passing by. Alexa led the way, her eyes scanning for any signs of movement. Zill, with his enhanced senses, acted as their scout, and Tom covered their rear, his hand never straying far from his blaster. They reached the outer wall of the stronghold, and Zill quietly disabled the security sensors. Slipping inside, they navigated through dimly lit corridors, guided by the map Alexa had memorized. Reaching the central hub, Alexa accessed a terminal, her fingers flying over the alien keyboard with practiced ease. "Downloading now," she whispered. Tom watched the door while Zill monitored the communications channels, ensuring they remained undetected. The tension in the air was palpable, each second stretching out endlessly as the data transfer progressed. Suddenly, an alarm blared, shattering the silence. "They've detected the breach," Zill hissed. "Almost done." Alexa gritted her teeth, her focus unbroken. "Guards incoming," Tom warned, positioning himself by the door. The data transfer completed just as the first Zoraxian guards appeared. "Got it!" Alexa pulled out the data crystal, and the trio turned to escape. A fierce skirmish ensued. Tom and Zill held off the guards as Alexa navigated them towards their extraction point. They moved with precision, their training taking over in the heat of combat. Breaching the outer wall once more, they sprinted to their shuttle, under fire from pursuing Zoraxian forces. They launched just as a barrage of enemy fire scorched the ground where they had been seconds before. As the shuttle raced back to the Academy, Alexa looked at the data crystal in her hand, aware that it held the fate of the galaxy. The mission had been a success, but it was only the beginning. They had taken the fight to the enemy, and soon the enemy would return the favor. Upon their successful return, Alexa, Tom, and Zill were greeted as heroes at the Academy. The data crystal they had retrieved contained detailed plans of the Zoraxian Armada's impending attack, crucial weaknesses in their fleet formations, and even codes for some of their communications channels. This intelligence was a goldmine, potentially game-changing for the Academy's strategists. As the Academy's top analysts began to dissect the information, Commander Dravok summoned the trio to his office. The room was stark, illuminated by the soft glow of tactical displays. "Your bravery has provided us with a fighting chance," Dravok acknowledged, his tone less stern than usual. "But we must act swiftly." Over the next few days, preparations intensified across the Academy. Fortifications were strengthened, and battle simulations incorporated the new data. Alexa found herself at the heart of the planning process, her understanding of Zoraxian tactics growing deeper by the hour. The night before the expected confrontation, Alexa lay awake in her quarters, her mind racing. Despite the exhaustion tugging at her limbs, the enormity of what might come on the morrow kept sleep at bay. She rose and made her way to the Academy's central command room, needing to feel the pulse of the preparations. Tom was there, poring over star maps and fleet positions. He looked up and offered a tired smile. "Can't sleep either?" "Too much on my mind," Alexa admitted, joining him by the holographic displays. "It's more than just tactics and strategies for you, isn't it?" Tom asked after a moment, his voice low. Alexa nodded. "It's the weight of knowing so many lives will depend on our decisions, and the fear of what my abilities might mean in the battle to come." Tom placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've come into your own, Alexa. Whatever powers you possess, I know you'll use them to protect us all." As dawn broke, alarms sounded. The Zoraxian fleet had arrived. Alexa joined her fellow cadets at their battle stations as the Academy braced for the assault. The sky darkened with the shadows of enemy ships, their intentions clear and deadly. The battle commenced with a ferocity that shook the very foundations of the Academy. Zoraxian fighters swarmed the defenses, their weapons blazing. Alexa, positioned in the central command, coordinated the Academy's responses with an uncanny foresight. Her instincts, honed by a connection to the data she had helped capture, allowed her to anticipate the enemy's moves with eerie accuracy. Mid-battle, a massive Zoraxian cruiser broke through the outer defenses, targeting the Academy's main energy core. Realizing the disaster this would cause, Alexa tapped deep into her latent abilities. Time seemed to slow as she focused, her mind reaching out to interface directly with the Academy's automated defense systems. With a thought, she redirected the orbital platforms to concentrate their fire on the cruiser. Beams of concentrated energy rained down, and the cruiser veered off, heavily damaged and breaking apart. In the command center, Alexa slumped, drained by the exertion. Tom rushed to her side, helping her to stand. "Incredible," he breathed, awe in his eyes. Zill, monitoring the battle's progress, turned to them. "The tide is turning in our favor," he reported. "The Zoraxians are retreating." Cheers erupted around them, but Alexa remained focused. "Let's ensure they don't return," she said, a new strength in her voice. The victory was celebrated throughout the Academy, and while many hailed the strategic genius of their leaders, those who had seen Alexa's intervention knew the truth. She had not only revealed her true power, but had also become a symbol of their potential victory in this interstellar conflict. The war was far from over, but Alexa had proven that humanity could more than hold its own. In the wake of their victory, the Academy did not have long to celebrate. The Zoraxian retreat was a temporary respite, a chance to breathe and regroup, but everyone knew the war was far from over. The enemy was undoubtedly regathering forces for another, possibly more devastating attack. Under Commander Dravok's orders, the Academy transformed overnight from a school into a fortified stronghold. Alexa's role in the previous battle had not gone unnoticed. Her unique abilities, once a closely guarded secret, were now the subject of both awe and strategic planning discussions. Despite her fatigue, she was constantly pulled into meetings with the top brass, her insights proving invaluable as they prepared for the next assault. "Your intuition, it's almost like a weapon itself," Commander Dravok remarked during one such strategy session. Alexa merely nodded, her focus entirely on refining their defenses. Meanwhile, Tom and Zill spearheaded the training of their fellow cadets, turning theoretical knowledge into practical combat readiness. "We need to be sharper, faster," Tom insisted, pushing everyone to their limits on the training ground. Zill, with his calm demeanor, handled the tactical simulations, creating scenarios that might mimic what they would face next. The atmosphere at the Academy was one of grim determination. The cadets knew the next battle would determine not just their fate, but the fate of many across the galaxy. Among them, Alexa felt the weight of responsibility most acutely. Her powers, once a liability, were now their ace in the hole, and she trained relentlessly to master them. Days later, the anticipated second wave of Zoraxian forces arrived, larger and more formidable than before. This time, the enemy came prepared, their tactics adjusted to counter the Academy's defenses. As the battle erupted, Alexa stood in the central command, her mind linked with the Academy's sensor array. She could feel the enemy's movements, almost before they happened, directing the Academy's firepower with lethal precision. Tom and Zill were on the front lines, leading a squadron of cadets and intercept fighters. They darted through the chaos, relying on Alexa's commands to avoid ambushes and strike at critical vulnerabilities in the Zoraxian fleet. "Left wing, Squadron 3, pull back!" Alexa's voice crackled over the comms, and Tom immediately veered away, just as a barrage of enemy fire lit up the space where he had been seconds earlier. On the ground, the Academy shook under the impact of a Zoraxian bombardment. Alexa grimaced, her concentration never wavering as she coordinated the Academy's response. With each passing moment, her abilities seemed to grow stronger, her connection to the battle deepening. The turning point came when Alexa detected a significant buildup of energy on the largest Zoraxian ship. "They're preparing a major strike," she warned, her voice echoing through the command center. Commander Dravok acted instantly on her intel, redirecting all available power to the defensive shields and ordering a concentrated attack on the Zoraxian flagship. The combined firepower of the Academy's orbital platforms and the cadet squadrons overwhelmed the enemy vessel, causing a massive explosion that rippled through their ranks. As the smoke cleared, the remnants of the Zoraxian fleet, disoriented and leaderless, began to retreat once more. This time, the victory felt definitive. The cadets cheered, their relief palpable, but none felt it more deeply than Alexa. Exhausted but elated, she disconnected from the sensor array, her body sagging with fatigue. Tom and Zill rushed to her side, their faces etched with pride and gratitude. "You did it, Alexa," Tom said, his voice thick with emotion. "You really did it." "I didn't do it alone," Alexa replied, managing a tired smile. "This victory belongs to all of us." As the Academy began to assess the damage and count their blessings, Alexa stood at a window overlooking the space where the battle had raged. The stars seemed brighter, the galaxy a little less daunting. With her friends at her side and her newfound mastery of her abilities, she felt ready for whatever challenges might come next. Humanity had not only survived, it had triumphed thanks to the bravery and unity of its defenders. The aftermath of the decisive battle was a time of reckoning and reflection. The Zoraxian Armada, once a looming threat to the galaxy, was now a shattered remnant, fleeing back to their territory. The victory was celebrated across the United Galactic Federation, with the Galactic Academy hailed as the pivotal force that turned the tide against the invasion. In the days following the battle, the Academy began the process of reconstruction. The scars of war were evident on the battered structures and in the hearts of those who had fought. Yet, amidst the rebuilding, there was a palpable sense of triumph and newfound respect for the Academy and its cadets. Alexa, who had once doubted her place among the stars, now stood as a central figure in the Academy's lore. Her remarkable abilities had saved countless lives and had been crucial in the defeat of the Zoraxians. As she walked through the corridors, no longer the unnoticed misfit but a celebrated hero, her peers looked up to her with admiration and a bit of awe. Commander Dravok summoned Alexa, Tom, and Zill to his office one last time. The room was filled with the light of a setting star, casting long shadows across the floor. Dravok, standing by the window, turned to face them as they entered. "Cadets," he began, his voice softer than they had ever heard. "You have not only defended this academy, but have also preserved the peace of our galaxy. Your courage and dedication will be remembered in the annals of our history." Tom, ever the light-hearted spirit, replied with a grin, "It was an epic journey, sir. One for the books, definitely." Zill, more reserved, added, "It was an honor to serve alongside true warriors." Dravok nodded, then his gaze fixed on Alexa. "And you, Cadet Hayes. You have shown us all what it means to rise above oneself. You've not only revealed your power, but also your heart and leadership. The Federation is considering establishing a new directive based on integrating other unique talents like yours into our forces." Alexa felt a surge of pride, mixed with a touch of nervousness. "Thank you, sir. I hope my role can inspire others to come forward and harness their abilities for the good of all." "As do we all," Dravok affirmed. "Now go. Celebrate. You've earned it." As they left Dravok's office, the trio walked towards the Academy grounds where the reconstruction was already buzzing with energy. Workers and robots worked side by side, repairing and rebuilding what had been lost. Tom slung an arm around Alexa's shoulders. "You think everything's going to change now?" he asked, watching a new panel being fitted onto a damaged building. "Maybe," Alexa replied, her eyes thoughtful. "But whatever comes, we'll face it together, just like always." Zill looked out toward the horizon where space met sky. "The galaxy is vast, and its mysteries are many. Today we celebrate, but tomorrow we continue our journey." Together, they joined the other cadets in the celebration, the laughter and shared stories echoing into the night. The war had brought them closer, forging bonds that would last a lifetime. As the stars twinkled above, signaling the dawn of a new era, Alexa felt a deep connection to the vastness of the universe and her place within it. The galaxy was indeed vast and filled with mysteries, but it was also home, a home that humanity had fought for and would continue to defend, no matter what challenges lay ahead.